Truth is that I haven't shook my shadow, and every day is trying to trick me into doing battle. Calling out fake up, wanna get me rattled, wanna pull me back behind the fence with the cattle. Building your lenses, digging your trenches, put me on the front line, leave me with a dumb mind with no defenses. But your defenses, if you can't stand to feel the pain, then you are senseless. Since this, I've grown up some different kind of fighter, and when the darkness comes, let it inside you.
Welcome to Woodybrando's Wild Ride, episode number 3. Where we're at right now is exactly why I made the last video and why I'm even doing this series. This matrix trading strategy is actually, I envision it as like a defensive weapon against pump and dump manipulation. Now, if you look at the market since I released my last video, December 12th, that looks a whole hell of a lot like a pump and dump. Perpetrated, I suspect, by the money powers that pushed to get the Bitcoin shorting opened. I don't know if you remembered, but that's what I said in the last video, is I wanted to get this strategy out so that people didn't just get caught naked buying into all-time highs of crypto. So I wanted to do a little case study since it's been about 2 months. It's now February 12th. Now I used Bitfinex for the prices in this example, but that's only because it's easier to navigate the charts on Bitfinex. But Bitfinex charges like a 0.2% fee. So this particular case study would have to happen on GDAX, where there is no maker fee. And so what I did over here was make a little case study where I bought into LTC USD at 285 on February 12th. So I created a matrix over here starting at 286.5, and then each peg up is $6.25 apart, all the way up to 486.5, and 24 positions below down to 136.5. And then what happened was, as we got down to 186, I started to sell off some of our extra retrace profits to fill out below down to 99. And what happened was I had a bunch of retraces here, so all the retraces beyond 7, I trimmed, sold the profits, and that's how I was able to build out my extra matrix pegs down here, which altogether I think were about $87, I think, at $14.58 per peg. And we haven't reached down to 105 or 99 yet, but we did get down to 111.50. So let's see how we did. Our current investment is 858.86 from an initial investment of 1,000. So we are still down about 14%, but compared to a buy and long hold strategy, that would be 534.67 right now, which would be down 42%. So by trading this matrix system, we have recovered 324 of our potentially lost $465 in just a little under 2 months. So these retracement profits, this 324 here, this is basically free money. Granted, as the price fluctuates up and down, this is gonna go up and down. So if you really think the market's coming down, you're gonna wanna sell sooner than later. But this way, you're just using retracement profits to build out the matrix below, maintaining your original position, just adding more pegs or more protection below so that you're covered if the market goes below your matrix. And we're not afraid of the price going down, because as the price goes down, the volume we're working with goes up. So that makes the percentage gains or value at each peg go up faster at the lower prices. And now you have to balance that with the overall value, which goes down, obviously, as the price goes down. But the idea is that ultimately the retracements anywhere in your matrix are going to eventually get your value back to your initial investment value. And then from there, the retracements at the lower prices are going to become more and more valuable, because then you can start using some of that volume you're gaining to fill out above in the matrix, where when you have the price moving back up, you're going to have some really good gains off of that free volume you got off the low price retracements. Okay, so right now we're still down 14%, but I'm going to keep returning to this case study to see how long it takes to get us back to our initial investment. Okay, I wanted to do a recap because we had a pump today, all the way up to 206. So despite being down 27% right now, we're actually up 2%. So if you're nervous or you're shaky, you can always just jump out right now, sell everything and take your 20 bucks and run, or sell everything and rebuild a new matrix around these prices. But this is why I like to trade like this, because you never know which way the market's gonna go. And here in just over 2 months where the market's gone down 27%, I'm up 2%. Now, as far as I know, I can't go to any investment bank and say, hey, if the market goes down 27%, can you guys give me like a 2% return? They're not gonna do that, man. This is what this is all about. This is about figuring out how to maintain our own value. This is the revolution right here. If we're really gonna get out from under the power structure, we have to get out from under our fear-based value system, which is, using banks instead of being able to maintain our own value ourselves. And this is what crypto's about.
I seen a million number doors on the horizon. Now which is the future you're choosing before you gon' die? And I'll tell you about a secret I've been undermining. Every little lie in this world come from dividing. Say you're my love, say you're my home. Till my chin back, slit my throat, take a bath in my blood, get to know me. All out of my secrets, all my enemies are turning into my teachers. Because
Fiat, USD, yen, yuan, euro, that's theirs. You know what I mean? That's their money. That's their mind control money. Fiat means by decree. By whose decree do we obey USD? The powers that be seem to be the central banks owned by this Rothschild family in coordination with the Rockefeller family and, I don't know, some kind of blood oil bond between Saudi Arabia, Israel, the Rothschild banking family, the Rockefellers in America, coordinating some kind of international. Do we see through the Bilderberg Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations. I found this nice little graphic that shows you who these people are that are members of all these groups. Because when people say it's impossible to coordinate around the globe, journalists and politicians and militaries and governments all meeting in these secret meetings, it's impossible. Or maybe it happens all the time and nobody tells you.
We get a lot of advice from the council, so this will mean I won't have as far to go to be told what we should be doing and how we should think about the future.
Been a member for a long time and was actually a director for some period of time. I never mentioned that when I was campaigning for re-election back home in Wyoming.
And I understand because of the fiat system and because of this debt money-based system that people don't have a lot of extra time and you just kind of have to trust and cherry pick information from the mainstream media sources and let that build out your worldview. And then not only that, but it's just much scarier to a person and much harder for people to sort of take on this idea that they're being lied to on a massive, unimaginable sort of Truman Show level. We can't even find out from the general inspector where trillions of dollars off book are going.
Inspector Coleman, you're the Inspector General for the Federal Reserve, right? Okay.
That's correct.
What have you done to investigate the off-balance sheet transactions conducted by the Federal Reserve, which, according to Bloomberg, now total $9 trillion in the last 8 months?
I'll have to look specifically at that Bloomberg article. I'm not, I don't know if I have actually seen that particular one.
Have you conducted any investigation or auditing of the losses that the Federal Reserve has experienced on its lending since last September?
We're still in the process of conducting that review. Until we actually, go out and gather the information, I'm not in a position to really respond to the specific question.
So are you telling me that nobody at the Federal Reserve is keeping track on a regular basis of the losses that it incurs on what is now a $2 trillion portfolio?
I don't know if you're telling me that you're mentioning that there's losses. I'm just saying that we're not, until we actually look at the program.
And not only that, the average person doesn't even see these hearings, doesn't make it on the news. This isn't important. Where the money is getting spent, like trillions of dollars getting like poured into God knows what dark markets. And we just, no answer. You're not going to get an answer. Why would you want an answer? You don't deserve an answer. You're not the trusted people. You're not the good people in government that know how to use your resources. So until you are, head down, back to work, pay your taxes, keep taking out bigger loans to compete on the market with other people taking out bigger and bigger loans all the time. And, when the merry-go-round of debt money stops, why would the banks ultimately want this worthless paper in the end? They know it's not worth anything. They made it out, it's just numbers on a computer or just paper that they print to whatever extent they feel like printing it. What are they going to do with all this green cotton paper in the end? They don't want the cotton paper back. They want our houses, they want our property, they want our sweat equity, they want to control us. Our debts, our bills, our taxes, they're all owed in USD. And that's a system built to gain control of you and me, us, we. And it does a great job because what we're going to do tomorrow and today and right now is going to have some relationship, if not the primary factor being, how does it get me more USD? How does this costs me the least amount of USD. This is what we're all going around day to day, using our lives and our time, like magic time. This is like infinity land that we're in, and we could worry and care about anything. But that's not the case. We care about the number of greenbacks we have a right to. And we don't really question where they come from, what that system means, how healthy that system is, like how technology could have advanced since it was created over 100 years ago.
On the evening of November 22nd, 1910, some of the wealthiest and most powerful men in America boarded Senator Aldrich's private rail car and in the strictest secrecy journeyed to this place, Jekyll Island, off the coast of Georgia. The participants came here to figure out how to solve their major problem, how to bring back a privately owned central bank. Warburg wanted to call the legislation the National Reserve Bill or the Federal Reserve Bill. The idea here was to give the impression that the purpose of the new central bank was to stop bank runs, but also to conceal its monopoly character.
This is a world we live in of profit by deception. There is a profit incentive to keep as many people stupid as possible. Because if we're stupid, we don't know our choices. We don't know what healthy is. We don't know what a good economy is if we've only seen a manipulated, bankrupt, at the core, pyramid scheme economy like our central bank is. And so we don't even have the eyes to see what crypto is, what the potential of a money outside of government is. I mean, it's not just outside of government, it's outside of the banks. The banks own and control government.
They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls.
The average person maybe sees it, knows it, but what are you going to do, man? I got my own problems. And yeah, we do. We've got our own problems because this broken financial system has given us a hell of a lot of problems over the years. I mean, people losing houses in 2008, banks being bailed out to the tune of $31 trillion, something like $100,000 per person in debt, just so that the banks that caused the crisis could get bailed out of the crisis they caused, just to probably set up a new crisis for us. We're living in mad times, out of control times.
We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
And what I see in trading crypto is a currency that can really be of the people, of us, of we, the ungoverned money system, the unregulated, the wild west of money. And this in contrast to the government centralized private bank debt notes that are traded as money in our society, which I think is programming. We are accepting debt as money, and that's sort of a backwards idea. We're encouraged to the point where the greatest power in the world, supposedly the United States government, at least the biggest army in the world, is also the biggest debtor in the world. So we have no longer do we associate wealth with accumulation of value. It's actually an accumulation of debt that we associate wealth with. That's how upside down our world has become, is that the wealthiest people now just have the largest loans. But these are crazy times. And thankfully, a lot of people only on the internet, it seems, are really waking up. And only because of the internet are waking up. Because of the G. Edward Griffiths, the Jordan Maxwells, the Cynthia McKinneys, the Sybil Edmonds, all these amazing whistleblowers that are honest and have good hearts and are trying to spread the information of what they saw when they got to the heart of this beast.
We had President Bush place a phone call to Majority Leader Senator Tom Daschle asking him not to investigate the events of September 11th. Then, hot on the heels of the president's phone call was another phone call from the vice president asking that Tom Daschle also not investigate September 11th. My question is, what do they have to hide? Right.
This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know. He said, I guess they don't know what else to do. So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. He says, there's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq. So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
More than 1 million people died, okay? And there was no clear winner. There were losers. But at the end of it, somebody won. And my father always asked me to always follow the money and see where does it end and who are the ultimate winners.
And here it is 2018, and Cynthia McKinney just tweeted this out 2 days ago. Since the outbreak of the conflict in Syria, Israel has awarded drilling rights for oil and gas in Israeli-occupied Syria to a company called Genie Energy. Guess who's on the board? The same people I'm talking about over and over. Here it is 2018, and these bastards are still profiting off of 9/11. This is a psychopath's world, and the good people of it are just sleepwalking through it. These whistleblowers reach out and try to get the information to us, the people that make up this country, so that we can correct this corruption. But we don't really have any power at all to do these things. And it's frustrating because we are the power. You know, what we decide is money is going to be money. What we decide to take for our labor and is up to us ultimately. You know, I can say I will only work for Litecoin from now on and cut USD out altogether, and that's where I'm going, that's where I'm headed. So when I see these prices crashing like this, my perspective is a little different because I'm trying to collect coins now. I'm not trying to collect USD. Governments can just print all of their money they want. So if they want to buy into crypto, they can just start up the printing machines and start printing trillions of dollars and just buy up all the crypto they want. And it's up to us to say no, sorry, you've abused your power. You've abused the power of money, you've abused the power of government, and you've abused us. It's a complicated, toxic situation that we all participate in. And we participate in, why? Because we're controlled. We're mind controlled by the USD, by the fiat, by the decree of this money. And so along comes a non-decreed currency that is valuable because people like me will buy it. And the reason I'm going to buy it is because I'm trying to get fiat free. Get me out of the dollars. Get me out of debt-based dollars. Get me out of dollar-based debt. Get me out of fiat-based debt. Get me into crypto gains and assets that return money. This is how you get wealthy, but it's also how you get free of this like endless time and money suck that is sort of debt-based living.